Glenn Greenwald went on the Megyn Kelly show, and if people don't know who Megyn Kelly is, she's the woman that used to be on Fox News, but she got kicked off and sexual harassment and all kind of stuff, and then she got her own show on MSNBC, but because she was conservative, that didn't do well. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, Glenn Greenwald went on her show to talk about the incident with Bernie Sanders and Cornel West. So let's listen a little bit to what she says here.
Elsewhere in the Democratic field, things are getting interesting. There's like a little smoke coming up in the ranks in the Dems. And I'm not speaking about RFKJ or Marianne Williamson. Bernie Sanders and Cornel West. What do you make of, well, get the audience up to speed on what they've been doing and why they've become a little bit more interesting as we look forward to 2024, even though we're assured Biden's running for a second term.
Well, so first of all, Cornel West is just one of the more interesting people in our cultural life. He's incredibly well-spoken. He's a learned person. He's been in academic institutions. I think he's extremely smart. I've talked to him a lot. I really believe that. He's been very widely respected his whole life. He wrote a book called Race Matters in the 1990s. That's considered by a lot of people one of the most profound intellectual works on race. And aside from that, he was a very close friend of Bernie Sanders. He was a vigorous supporter of the Sanders campaign, both in 2016 and 2020 when Bernie ran for president. Cornel West has always been a left-wing critic of the Democratic Party. He's never liked the Democratic Party, but he's kind of maintained like one foot inside of it, the way Bernie used to pretend to do. Now Cornel West thinks both parties are equally terrible, that he can't support either, and he's running as a third-party candidate with the Green Party, the way Jill Stein did in 2016. And one major problem for the Democrats is that he is a very respected Black intellectual, very popular among a lot of Black voters on whom Democrats rely in every election to win. But he's also somebody I think people are going to start to see who has this ability to speak to working class people in a way that makes them feel like they're not hearing stale left-wing dogma. He's exciting, he's charismatic, he's funny, he's very human, he produces music, he sings, he'll break into song in the middle of interviews like he did when I had him on my show. And I think he poses a huge threat to the Democratic Party because even if you take 2 or 3% from Joe Biden, that obviously can make a difference in the way our elections are run. And the amazing thing is, Megyn, that Bernie Sanders his entire life has prided himself on his independence from the Democratic Party. Literally, he's never been a member of the Democratic Party. Even now, he's an independent senator. He doesn't belong to either party technically, even though he caucuses with the Democrats. So for them to send out, of all people, Bernie Sanders to attack Cornel West, and for Bernie to be willing to do it, to attack his good friend, someone who supported him for many years, shows that there is no more internal dissent within the Democratic Party. I was in Milwaukee. Everybody who watched that debate saw the incredibly intense ideological and political conflicts the Republican Party has internally, which I think is very healthy. Democrats are in total lockstep, including the parts of the party that pretended for a long time to be defiant and rebellious. Bernie's catchphrase in 2016 was "our revolution." The revolutionary, the radical revolutionary, is now Joe Biden's chief party enforcer to the point of.
How do you like that? How do you like that? That'd be like Fred Hampton now backing Richard Nixon. That's what that would be like. So that's what Bernie Sanders is doing. So it begs the question: Were we fooled? Were we fooled to think that this guy was ever a revolutionary? Were we fooled? And my answer to that is yes, we were fooled. Now, don't get me wrong. Bernie Sanders, even if I'm going to give him his flowers, he has been the best I would say 20 years ago, he was the best politician in office 20 years ago, before he started really riding the coattails of the Democratic Party. When they used to keep him out in the cold, in the wilderness, they used to do that to Bernie Sanders when he wasn't falling in line. Then he said, you know what? I'm tired of being the outcast. I'm tired. So little by little, he inched over. And now this motherfucker cannot. Is he any different than Nancy Pelosi? At this point, he's no different than Nancy Pelosi, Rome. We're about a third way through. Let's listen to another 2 minutes. We may not listen to all of it. Just depends on what they say in our reaction here.
To exploit his old fake persona to attack Cornel West. And I don't know. I think that's going to alienate a lot of people more than it's going to persuade them.
So interesting to hear you explain that. Okay, so here's Here's a bit of Cornel West going on Charlemagne's show, The Breakfast Club, on August 7th, talking about Bernie Sanders. Take a listen here. Side 8.
I love the brother, and you know, you even in love, people have deep disagreements about these things. But I think again, he's fearful of the neo-fascism of Trump. People look at Biden, they don't really want to tell the full truth. He's created the best economy that we can get. Is this the best that we can get? You're gonna tell that lie to the people?
Do you think?
Oui.
Do you think? Would you tell a lie to the working class in poor Rome in order to get some milquetoast neoliberal warmonger elected? Would you do that, Rome?
Hell no way. No.
Just no shame.
And to blatantly lie to the people when they can feel the effects of the economy, when they can feel the effects of the inflation, when they are feel the when the eviction notices is hitting their doors. The blatant lie to the people is just that's some evil shit. That's evil.
It's pretty evil. All right, so let's let Megyn continue here.
Just for Biden to win?
Okay, and then, as you point out comes Bernie Sanders with a response directed at Cornel West, Top 9.
Where I disagree with my good friend, Cornel West, is I think in these really very difficult times where there is a real question whether democracy is going to remain in the United States of America, I think we have got to bring the entire progressive community to defeat Trump or whoever the Republican nominee will be.
Okay, and then one more for you. Cornel West went on Rising with, The Hill, and had an interesting POV that we should play. Take a listen, Sot 10.
Brother Bernie's making a plausible argument, but I think deep down in his heart, he knows that the Democratic Party has no fundamental intention of speaking to the needs of poor people and working people. He and AOC and the others are going to be, in a certain sense, window dressing at worst, and at best, people to appeal to every 4 years.
So, Glenn, Cornel West is not persuaded by the Bernie message of we've got to get the entire Democratic Party unified and on board to defeat the fascist Trump.
I have to say, Megyn, like Bernie Sanders, it's sad to watch because he is a politician for whom I had personal respect. I think a lot of people, even people who don't like his ideology in Washington, will say whatever you want to say about Bernie. He has integrity in the sense that he's always true to his principles. What he's doing now is so despicable because in 2016, this is exactly the argument that was made against Bernie Sanders was, look, we have this Hitler-like menace in Donald Trump. This is not a time to have infighting within the Democratic Party. You're threatening American democracy by running against Hillary Clinton and damaging her. And to this day, a lot of them blame Bernie Sanders for sabotaging Hillary Clinton in the general election. And beyond that, Megyn, people don't want to face the fact in the Democratic Party that it isn't people like me saying this. It's people like Elizabeth Warren and Donna Brazile, the former chairwoman of the DNC, who said that in 2016, the Democrats cheated. They rigged the election in order to ensure that Bernie lost and that Hillary won and that she would win no matter what. And so to watch Bernie now turn around to the same party that refuses to hold any presidential debates, to declare Joe Biden the winner, even though he has two primary challengers before a single vote is cast, that cheated and rigged the election when he ran, and to pretend now that the Democrats are the only guardians of democracy without...
You know what just came to mind? That'd be like your wife or girlfriend cheating on you, and then you starting to praise the nigga she cheated with. That's what basically Bernie Sanders is. He got cheated on by the Democratic Party. Yeah, cuck. That's exactly what it is. And now he's over here with the person that the Democratic Party cheated with, out here trying to take him to dinner. That's basically wrong. So your girl cheat, and then you call up the nigga she cheated with and say, would you like to go to dinner today? That's basically it.
But I do like that he called out that Joe Biden do have other challengers that they are just ignored. I mean, I know they're not having any debates in the primary, but he still do have other challenges within his own party, right? So this is how you know Dr. Cornel West is a threat. Not a threat to democracy, but a threat to the Democratic Party. And not only will he be he can pull votes from the independents and non-voters, he will be pulling votes from the Democratic Party. Because if they wasn't coming, if they're not coming after Marianne Williamson and RFK, as much as they are coming after Cornel West, then it's actually saying something. And then one thing that they don't want is the people to get a leg up, is the people to get a whiff of power. Because then we're gonna see how neglectful Bernie Sanders actually was in the 50-something years he's been in been in power. We're gonna see, that we could have got these things done, and all this shit was just rhetoric to these people.
All right, I think this is the final question she asked him. I did fast forward a little bit so we can end this segment.
Do what Democrats tell them to do, and that is not something that most people want to accept.
Yes, so this is from early August. The Trump campaign highlighted an Emerson College poll out of Michigan showing Trump and Biden tied, each with 44%. And when Cornel West was added as a choice, Joe Biden lost the state of Michigan to Trump. 43% for Trump, 41% for Biden. West got 4% of the vote. They can't have it. They cannot have it. He doesn't have it to spare. He did not win in any sort of a landslide last time around, meaning Joe Biden. He needs every single vote. And Cornel West could be a very interesting spoiler. So where did you learn about money?
I don't like how she still labels it as a spoiler. I still don't, go with that sort of terminology for what's happening, but it is what it is. Let me let this other question be answered by Glenn, and then we can end here.
Be a democracy, and not only that, but to do so by attacking Cornel West, someone who's supposed to be his friend, in such harsh terms, I think is really grotesque. And look, you saw Cornel West in that clip. I mean, it's not hard to understand why Democrats. The last poll showed 20% of Black Americans are saying they're going to vote for Donald Trump. Maybe that was an outlier, but no question, Trump has attracted more and more non-white voters the more he stayed in public life. And if you have someone like Cornel West going and saying that stuff that he just said, Democrats don't care about the working class, they don't care about the poor, that is not something that Democrats want. And I don't think they believe they can persuade Cornel West to stop. And so they've launched this repulsive campaign trying to depict him as a deadbeat dad, as a tax cheat. Like, what's next? Drug dealer?
Oh, yeah.
It really shows just how craven these people are.
The Daily.
That was the last question. Spot on. Thanks, Glenn Greenwald, for that short interview, because I would not have known anything about Megyn Kelly. She is kind of conservative. If it wasn't for Glenn Greenwald going on that show. But all of these topics, Rome, is speaking to the part I said earlier when you first got here, and that is like, it feels like this is different, Rome. It feels different. It feels like people, enough people are fed up. Enough people are like us, like, you know what? I've been fooled 4, 5, 6 times with this shit. Fuck this shit. It's nothing. I don't care. Trump wins, he wins, motherfucker. And I'm in that boat. Literally, if Trump wins, what does that do to me? My life is going to be the exact same, if not better, because we can literally, and we're not Trump advocates. We're just going off facts. Measurably, the Trump presidency was slightly better than the Biden presidency. Biden is funding ICE more. Biden military is up more. Biden is pushing us to fight World War III with Russia and China. A homeless population is up. Like everything, police shootings is up. Like everything is up. So this inflation is up. Eggs is up. Price of eggs is up. Price of gas is up. Everything is up. The COVID deaths were up. Everything is worse under a Joe Biden presidency. So they're not going to be able to sell this Trump bad anymore. And you're seeing it with black male support for Donald Trump, Rome. I know you've seen it. This nigga got 20% black.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that shit in a while. Go ahead, Rome. You're gonna say
like
something.
he had 12%. He had 12% last time, and I told people it's gonna do nothing but go up because whether I don't know if people know it or not, but Donald Trump freed a lot of people that Joe Biden locked the fuck up. Those people want revenge. Those people hold Joe Biden out of power. I know people that's been locked up for a crack rock and did 10 to 15 years for a couple of sacks of crack that they wasn't planning on selling, they was using. Did hard time for that shit because of the laws that Joe Biden got into office, got into power. Now that they got their voting power back, they like, and this is the thing, like, I'm telling you, the reason why black people don't vote is because of Joe Biden. Now think about the cause and effect the 3 strikes have on our community. Now we see our people getting locked up and whatnot, right? So they never get into politics. And they never tell us about politics. When the last time your OGs told you to go vote? They ain't saying no shit like that because they voting power has been taken away, and it's gonna have a domino effect on the rest of the community. Oh well, I guess voting doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and we're gonna have generations of people not giving a fuck of voting. I have a generation, like, man, there's so many non-voters in my family because of Joe Biden, because of the policies that he put into place and how it affected our community. Now we like, man, fuck this shit. We ain't got no power over that. What we supposed to do over the 3 strikes? So yeah,
it's a great question right here. What the fuck was America? When the fuck was America ever great? That's a good question. Is that the exception? They was killing all the natives. Then they moved. Then they had moved right into slavery. Then to slavery, right into Jim Crow. That's a good question. When was it? When was it, Roman? Was it the 80s? Not with the crack epidemic. I know damn sure it wasn't then. Was it the 50s and 60s?
Starting war with Vietnam.
Right. Was it the 30s, 50s, and 60s? The 30s, 40s, and 50s. Those are the times that spurred the civil rights movement. So those couldn't have been good. So when was it good? That's actually a great question. When was this
empire.
American
exception? This is an empire. There ain't no good in the empire for the people. The only good that's going to happen, only socialist things is going to happen is for the elite, not for you. So under empire, there will never be good times for the proletarian, ever. And look, you can say what you want. Oh, well, we living better than the other countries, yeah, because we stole their shit.
Yeah,
I live good too, man. You know what I mean? Houses I want to run in. I live good too if I can run up in your shit, or if I can just steal all your shit and put it in my house. Oh, that's a nice couch. I might just colonize that fucking couch. Of course we're gonna live better, but overall, man, I feel like these Americans are waking up, and the more they wake up, the more we have to be there before TYT gets. We have to be there. Like I said, RBN is the real fork in the road for leftists. When you driving down this road of progressiveness, you're gonna have to, you're gonna hit that cross in the road, that fork in the road, and you're gonna be like, oh, I thought I was a leftist already. No, this is the left. That was some bullshit over there, nigga. The journey's just beginning. The journey's just beginning. So yeah, we gotta be the real fork in the road, and we gotta continue to wake people up to this nonsense. I don't believe life is gonna get better under Dr. Cornel West presidency, no, but I do believe that we can, well, not spontaneously, of course. There are certain things that we can tackle, like, marijuana and, inflation, shit like that. But as far as, getting us all out of these wars, disbanding NATO and shit like that, he's going to need more than 2 terms to do some shit like that. So if we can just keep the ball rolling, maybe if he do win, we can have somebody else go and finish what he started. But don't give in, don't give up for these people, because all you're doing is giving up your principles for their bank account. You're giving up your principles for their bank account, because when you compromise and you vote for Joe Biden, what has happened? Your life got worse. You are poor. You have been evicted. You can't afford a $500 emergency, right? Don't compromise for other people's profits, because all these people got rich while we suffer. All these people get richer while we suffer. They get fatter while we die. So every time you give up on a principle, you basically are killing a human. Just think about it like that. Every time you give up on a principle and you give in, somebody in Libya is getting bombed. Every time you give up on your principles and you compromise, IDF is getting funded. Israel's getting funded. The police is getting funded. The prison industrial complex is getting funded. When you compromise, you lose people's lives. You get people killed and hurt. This is not how we're supposed to move. This is not how we're supposed to, treat power. If you got power, hold it and use it for good. Don't compromise your power for a psychopath, because a psychopath is going to do what a psychopath wants to do. You can't just say, well, we gave him a knife, but it was dull. We sent him in. Yeah, he in a crowd of people, but look, they got a little weight on them. They might be able to take a poke. Come on, man.